Hello there, and welcome to another Loofy vlog. I am Seleuf the Floofy Loofy, and today we'll be talking about vampires! Now, when it comes to the topic of vampires, it's a big topic. This may end up being a whole series of videos, depending on how much interest there is, so if you are interested and would like to see more, let me know by clicking that like button, and leave a comment below with what you would specifically like to see next. Today I thought I'd talk a bit about the Our Vampires Are Different trope. And before you say, oh, I've already read that page on tvtropes.org, hold on. I'm not going to sit here and list all the ways in which vampires can differ. Instead, I mean to talk a bit about why we have all these versions. Admittedly, this will mostly be my theories on the matter, as the tale of the vampire is so vast and distorted by time we may never have all the answers. But here we go. Vampires are one of our oldest mythological monsters, with their most basic concept, an inhuman being that feeds on the living, having sprung up independently all over the world. Though having sprung up all over the world, in different times and cultures, they've possessed some very fundamental differences, with only the essence of their base need linking them. You'll perhaps notice already now that I'm not saying blood drinking, and that's because the act of drinking blood has not been a universal constant for them. Feeding on the living, yes, but exactly what they consume or how they consume it has been vastly different, and sometimes truly disturbing. Looking back on the folklore today, we may not even recognize a lot of the vampires, instead seeing ghouls, ghasts, zombies, or wraiths, and indeed back in the day a lot of those terms were freely interchangeable. It was not until the vampire, Carmilla, Varney the vampire, and Dracula in the 1800s that the modern vampire was born. But with such a varied past and no definitive source or progenitor, our modern vampires were destined to be almost just as varied themselves. Now you may be thinking, but Dracula is the progenitor of all modern vampires. To which my reply is, did you know Dracula was fine in sunlight? Burning up in sunlight was not really a weakness vampires had until 1922's Nosferatu, when Murnau reached the end of his film's runtime and just kinda didn't know how else to end it. Other details about vampires have been dropped over time due to modern views. As our Western world increasingly values science over superstition, a whole host of vampire weaknesses have fallen more and more out of favor, such as crosses, garlic, hawthorn, water, the related mirrors and silver tropes, iron, requiring invitations, obsessive counting. As well, the favored ways to kill them have become a lot more straightforward. Sunlight, stakes, fire, or decapitation. And even these things still vary a lot from story to story. So what even is a vampire? Well, in our modern perceptions, a vampire is a physical, undead human being capable of turning other humans into what they are. They possess fangs, super strength, super speed, and heightened senses, weaknesses to sunlight, fire, and direct damage to the heart or brain, and must drink blood to survive. If any of these points deviate, we start to question if they should even classify as vampires. Similarly, if too many of the old tropes get included on top of that basic formula, we start to question again if this is a vampire or just a vampiric ghoul, or a zombie with an aversion to sunlight, or goddammit, that's an incubus, stop it. The grandparents of our modern vampires are Carmilla, and not so much Dracula himself as the various interpretations of Bram Stoker's novel over the past century. Meanwhile, I dare say the direct parent of our modern vampires is Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles' most prominently Interview with a Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned. But like with the endless Dracula reinterpretations, every time someone new writes about vampires, they tend to look over the vast and varied history to some degree, pick and choose the tropes they like, and maybe change or throw in a few more for good measure. I won't say this is bad. Heck, I've done it myself. And whether or not I agree with a particular interpretation or reinvention, it's certainly interesting to see what people have done the same or differently. So keep those vampire stories coming. Toy with the concepts and see what you create. It might be great or it might be crap, but at least it'll be interesting. And that's all I've got for you today. To borrow a line from history buffs, if you like the show, help the channel grow. Clicking like, share, or subscribe puts a smile on my face and helps me out a lot. And hit that bell icon too, if you want to know right away when I upload something new. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and DeviantArt for all sorts of updates and unique content. While the most important stuff reaches all of them, I do post a lot of different things on each platform, so it's definitely worth following me on more than one. I am Seleuf everywhere. Links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and have a pleasant day. Until next time!